this is Miguel. Welcome to another mGear video. This video is about the new version 2.3, and this version is mainly a big refactoring and maintenance update. We have some new features, some enhancements, and a lot of bug fixing, but probably you will not see any big change on this version. I would like to point that it's now everything is refactored using the pip 8 style, and we also are vendoring Qt from Marcus. It's probably if you code in on Maya or Nuke or other like CG industry package, you probably are using this library. It's very popular among open source projects. And in this video, I would like to point some of the most, or what I think is some of the most interesting updates on this version. So the first one that I would like to talk about is the new attribute default values. So for this, I'm gonna create a new arm here, and I'm just gonna build it straightforward. And so we can see here that the arm, it has some default values here, and also obviously the transformations have default values. And now with the new hotkey that basically is the same as what we were using before, we can reset not only the transformations like SRT like before, but also the default values on these custom channels. So to do that, we need to select the channels and then reset. So I'm just gonna set some values here so you can see that this is working. So just random value there and there. So basically I just select what I want to reset, and using my shortcut Control-Shift-R for me, you can reset this. If you don't remember, here in utilities you can create custom hotkeys, and check for the one it's called reset SRT, that is the old one. If we check the custom command, it's this one here, you can see that it's using the attribute module, and it's importing a smart or using a smart reset function that basically it's detecting if you have channels selected and try to figure out which is the best approach to reset your values. So in this case, if I have this and I don't have any channel selected, it's gonna reset the transformations, all the transformations. If I have one channel, it's gonna reset the channel, and of course if I have the custom channels, it's gonna reset that. So that's it for this new enhancement. Following, we have let me go through. Yeah, we have this new change on the global control naming to world control naming, and so on. So don't worry if you like the old system, you can still using it. This is an optional setting. So again, I'm gonna use the arm. If I build, you can see this is the old system with the cross with arrows, and the name it's global control. If I go here in the settings and set use world control, wow, it's gonna be a big change. Not really. You can see I build again, and it's a circle, and now it's called world control. So why I did change this thing? Okay, this was a request from the animators, and basically what they want is to have the ability to set the global control as an space, or for instance for the IKFK for the IK arm, they want this global as an space. So to do that, I need to have access to this control before the build, and this is only created at build time. So if we check here the biped, you can see this biped, the default guide now is using the world control, and now I create the global using the regular control 01 component instead. So basically you have the same result with one extra layer on top, but it doesn't affect your animation if you don't want to use it. But the extra thing is that now if I check my ARM settings, you can see here I can access to the global, so I can just select the global, add it as a new space reference, and now my IK control will have this space available that before was not possible. So that's it for this change. You can choose one or the other and take advantage of this, or just keep it. But yeah, remember that your animation, you can rename it and it's gonna work anyway. So we have the control 01 mirror behaviors. This basically, if we check one of the, for instance, okay, just gonna create a new one. I don't want to take too long on this video, so it's not so boring. Sorry. It's almost midnight here, and yeah, probably it's gonna be a little dragging now. Okay, so but here in the control we have this mirror behavior. So this mirror behavior, if you hold, is gonna give you some tooltip information and a warning that it's not working properly in 2018, especially in 2018.1. And this is not because an issue with the component itself, it's an issue with the manipulators on this Maya version. I don't have it here. This is 18, not the update one. But basically it's gonna invert your axis on the manipulation time. It's a bug that is being reported, and hopefully it's gonna be updated soon. And also remember, if you want to mirror behavior, you need to uncheck the wall space, because this overrides the mirror behavior. So basically now I'm just gonna go here, say this is the left side, just gonna duplicate mirror and build. And now if I select this, obviously I need to use my local axis or my object axis. So now it's working always a mirror, and this is achieved by having some negation axis in this side. So that's the reason, because it's not gonna work correctly on the latest update. But yeah, should be fixed, and this should be working soon. Okay, that's it for this update. Let's continue with more stuff. So oh yeah, this is the build improvement on the speed. So you probably noted that now every time I build something, you see this log popping here, and it's logging the times and so on, and giving some information. That's really great. But the point here is that also it's having a big improvement on the speed. So the algorithm that is searching for the components when it parses the guide, it has been changed. So now it's gonna build like twice as faster or even more. Depends of the rig. For instance, this is the default biped on this computer is around 12 seconds. Before was around 20 something. It depends of the machine always. But for instance, like 2 months or a few months ago, I had a project where I had like character with probably 100 components. I don't remember, but it was pretty crazy, and like 500 controls, something like that. It was taking like 8 good minutes to build it. It was like, oh my, that's too much. I mean, it's not even a coffee break. It's too much for me. And if you have to do it many times, obviously it's a waste of time. So I think it can be better, but for the moment we have this gain speed, and yeah, a few seconds there and there is gonna save you a lot of hours at the end of the project. So that's it for the speed improvement. And quickly, oh yeah, we have a new command to reload custom components. So if you have, you remember on the, so if I open here my environment, you have this custom environment that you can set to, sorry, this one, to have custom components, like custom ARM for the project or something like that. And it's gonna pop up here at the end of the list. And if you edit in or something, before using the utility reload was not reloading correctly, Now you have this shifter reload components that is gonna specifically reload all the components, including the custom components. So you can now update that. It's minor update, but very, very useful if you developing new components. Okay. Next one. What we have here, update guide structure. Oh yeah, this one, it's my favorite on this update. And what it does is, before, if you remember the custom steps are basically scripts that you can run before and after build your rig, and was accessible from these general settings custom steps here. So these custom scripts was run supposedly before and after, but the thing is, when you executed, when you did build from selection, was parsing the guide, then running the pre-custom steps, building the rig, and then running the post-custom steps. And that was a little well, not little, but a little limitation there. That was that if you want to edit your guide using the pre-custom steps, was not possible because the guide was already scanned, was already parsed before running the custom steps. So you didn't have the possibility to edit after that. So right now it's possible. So I have prepared a little example here. I'm just gonna delete this left arm, and I'm just gonna activate the pre-custom step, and I have my import part guide thing that if I edit, oops, I need to select something. Basically, you can see that I'm importing this file, that it's the left arm that I just deleted. It's reparenting the shoulder with the spine again, and then it's selecting the guide, the top node. And why it needs to select this? Probably this is something that can be automatized, and probably I will do it in the future. But basically, you need to reselect because you building from selection. So if you change your selection, and as I was saying, it's gonna run this and it's gonna scan later. So because it's scanning later, you need to reselect and tell to build from your selection. So that's something that you must remember, but that's very simple. It's just like this: select whatever your name of the guide is. That's all. Okay, so let's see how it works. So I'm just gonna select my top node and build from selection, and it's popping our new login window here. It was very fast, but I'm gonna scroll up again and we check. So here at the beginning, you can see that it's a shifter rigging system, blah blah, pre-custom step executing this file, and well, it's loading these steps and it succeed, and then it's validating the guide, getting all the parentheses, means all the relations, and then building the rig itself. And we don't have post custom step here, but if we have, it will run after here. So we will have some kind of separator like this one with some timing, so on. But yeah, that's it. So yeah, you can see clearly we have back or left arm, and if we delete the rig, we can see that the guide's back and connected again. So that's it. I think it's very very useful when you working with many characters that you want to reuse parts, or even the same character that have different versions, and you want to add or remove parts while building. So you can keep everything much more flexible. In the future will be much better solutions for this, like parsing the guide and building from file instead of having to reload Maya file that contains the guide and so on. So this is just a work in progress, or it's not the final goal, but it's something that is working right now, and I think it's very useful. Okay, let's continue. What else? And I think this is the we did a little update on the functionalities for Simple Rig, And this one probably is the second most interesting thing that we have on this update. And this is related with the spring chain that wasn't working properly before. And to do this example is the last one, I promise. No more. Okay. Let's go to the chain spring. We have this here. I'm just gonna place it there, and I have a new synoptic tab called Baker. So this Baker is only a synoptic tab that contains two buttons. We will see later. And I'm just gonna build this. Boom. So now I'm just gonna create a little animation. Whoop. If I press the right button, of course not. And yeah, there. So I have this little animation, and I'm just gonna, just for the example, I'm just gonna delete the keyframe here, activate this, make this a little softer, and playback. So you can see the spring is there, moving slowly, but it's some effect there. And obviously you can move this, you see how it's bouncing, everything, but as soon as you go backwards on your timeline, it's popping back, and it's, you see the animation, it's not executing. This is a fake spring, and it's based on this position and frame. So when you go backwards, it doesn't understand what's going on and deactivate everything. Okay, so that's nice to know, but what can I do? Okay, you can bake. So before, when you was baking, the recommended approach before was edit keys, bake simulation. Whoop. This one here, but didn't work correctly, because two things. The first thing is this have a connection that you cannot plug something else under and then expecting that everything is updating correctly, because you plug in two different animations. So depending if we was using the curves or the direct manipulation, was giving some pops there and there. And obviously it was easier to break the rig, and it was not cool. Even with when you was referencing, was also giving some issues. So now this is been solved by a new underlying structure where we have a new pair blend ready to be used, and we can switch between one animation or the other. I mean, with the dynamic spring or the baked curves. And also we have the new synoptic tab that bakes and clear the spring. So bake, you don't need to select anything, just bake. It deactivates the OpenGL, so probably you saw this popping, and it's baking these elements here on the plot group. You can see everything is baked, but it's not deactivating the spring. You need to deactivate this channel. And you can see now, if I go back and forward, it's giving this new animation, but it's baked. And when I move this, it's not popping. Before, after baking, if I was moving the control, it was popping all around. It was terrible. I'm sorry for that. And yeah, if you don't like the parameters, you can come here again, just put the new parameter. Obviously, don't forget to activate this thing. And bake again. Basically, baking is doing first a clear and then rebaking again. So you don't need to clear, bake. Just need bake, and that's it. And yeah, again, I switch off this, and now you can see it's much more soft, the animation. And yeah, if you clear, it's gonna handle two things: clear your animation, keeping everything correctly, but also it's gonna reset the underlying layer of values that you have to get the spring. So it's gonna go back to your default position. In this case, it's straight, almost, because I have some values here. But yeah, if you have your pose like this, for instance, yeah, obviously it's gonna keep this position. It's not gonna change your animation, your direct animation on the controls. It's changing something underlying that it's generating this dynamic animation. So I think that's all for this quick update video on mGear 2.3. I hope it's not been too long. Only 20 minutes, not bad. Oh, terrible. Anyway, thank you for listening if you reach this 20 minutes video, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.